Coverage you can count on. KOMU 8 News Today starts now.
It looks like a bomb went off here, to be honest with you. It's beyond what I thought was capable of happening.
There's really no words that I can say to tell you what I've seen.
We start the show with the latest on Hurricane Ian. This is a live look behind us over South Carolina. You can see how windy it is there right now. Hurricane Ian is headed toward South Carolina as a Category 1 storm with maximum sustained winds of up to 85 miles per hour after it tore through Florida. Good morning, everyone. I'm Jordan Berger.
And I'm Sarah Moyers. Ian is tied as the fourth most powerful hurricane to ever hit the Sunshine State. There have been 19 reported deaths across Florida. The majority of those killed were in hard-hit Charlotte and Lee counties. Residents are now getting their first glimpse at the scope of the damage.
The amount of water that's been rising and will likely continue to rise today, even as the storm is passing, is basically a 500-year flood event.
It's ruined, completely ruined. The fridge is on the floor, the couches are turned upside down, the toilets are on the floor.
As of 5 a.m. Eastern Time today, there were more than 2 million people in Florida still without power. Dozens of homes are still underwater as well as Ian continues its destructive march. Parts of the east coast of Florida are getting pummeled.
This is my community. This is my home. It's not only for my pain, it's for everybody's pain. I'm terrified for everybody. It's not only all our trailers, it's half of Cape Coral, it's half of everywhere.
Towns along the South Carolina coast are hunkering down as Hurricane Ian approaches. The sand at a distribution site has disappeared as residents stock up on sandbags. The city has moved to Operation Condition 2 and is staging emergency vehicles. One resident says he's taking the storm seriously after seeing what happened in Florida.
It's going to be a little bit hairy. 6-foot surge, with a 6-foot tide, we're going to be at 12 feet. That's about the maximum a lot of houses out here can take on the first floor.
About 95 members of the Miami-Dade Fire Search and Rescue Team arrived on the barrier islands of Sanibel and Capitiva yesterday to assist with Hurricane Ian's search and rescue efforts. The team is working with the Florida National Guard to evacuate stranded locals from devastated areas that are only accessible by air.
Here's a look at how quickly those hurricane conditions changed as Ian came ashore. Take a look at this time-lapse video. This is the main road through Fort Myers Beach. The video starts at about 10 Wednesday morning. Just watch as the storm surge comes in over about an hour-and-a-half period. This recording ended at about 12:45 when the camera lost connection. Today, a Fort Myers Beach councilman said, quote, "I don't know if anyone in Washington can hear this, but if you can, send help. We need it."
Wildlife is all over the island, as you can imagine. So we just want to make it safe to see, even if people can get on to look at their homes to see what is there.
And check out this video. In one of the oldest cities in America, St. Augustine, the water reached waist-deep levels. One of the main bridges in the city had to shut down due to dangerous conditions. City officials warned people to stay out of the areas the tidewaters peaked and to avoid driving through standing water.
FEMA, the U.S. Coast Guard, and other entities are working by land, air, and sea. President Joe Biden is promising the full support of the federal government after attending a briefing at FEMA headquarters yesterday.
This could be the deadliest hurricane in Florida's history. The numbers are still unclear, but we're hearing early reports of what may be substantial loss of life.
Biden is asking people in the areas that were hit to stay inside if they can, both for their own safety and to let first responders focus on people who need help. Biden also talked about the federal response, saying the Coast Guard and FEMA are working together on rescue efforts and helping with water and food. Nearly $38,000 for home repairs and another $37,000 totaled for property loss.
Yesterday, Tampa Bay Buccaneers team owners and quarterback Tom Brady said that they're donating money toward Hurricane Ian relief efforts. Brady said in a Twitter post that he hopes the rest of the NFL family in the state will follow suit. The amount of Brady's donation was not disclosed. The Glazer family, who owns the team, though, said it will donate $1 million to support those who have been most impacted by the storm. On Sunday, the Buccaneers play against the Kansas City Chiefs. That game is set to kick off in Tampa at 8:20 p.m. Eastern. Meanwhile, the most magical place on earth is planning to start welcoming guests back again. Walt Disney World is reopening today as Tropical Storm Ian moves out of Orlando. Theme parks and Disney Springs operations will open in a phased approach Friday. No specific timings were released, though. But Disney's not the only popular attraction to close up shop ahead of Ian. SeaWorld plans to reopen tomorrow, while Universal Orlando is also planning to reopen today. Target and Walmart are making major donations to hurricane relief efforts. Yesterday, Target announced plans to donate $5 million. The donation will be focused on the immediate needs of residents, providing food, water, and other essentials. Yesterday, Walmart's CEO and president, John Furner, said his company will donate up to $6 million for recovery and relief efforts. That will include both cash grants and donations of essential supplies.
KOMU 8 First Alert Weather.
We're still waiting on that sun to come up, so that's keeping our temperatures on the colder side for now. Definitely a chilly morning. I know when I got up this morning and walked out, I made sure to have my jacket on because it was chilly to start out. It'll be a little chilly for longer. We'll get finally into that 60s range just around 11 a.m. or so. By that kind of lunch break, you might still want your jacket with you, but maybe by the afternoon you won't need it as we warm up to around 75 degrees. That's what we're going to see today for the high. We're not going to really be that different from where we were yesterday, though. Maybe a couple degrees warmer, a couple degrees cooler in some places, but we're really in that kind of stability pattern. It's really stagnant, not really seeing a lot of big temperature changes in the next couple days. And normally we have kind of a big spread from north to southern Missouri temperature-wise, but most of us are actually going to be on the same page today with northern Missouri only just a couple degrees cooler.
Thanks, Emmy. A Columbia teacher is taking the time to educate students about the effects of natural disasters like Hurricane Ian. As the climate changes, some kids have more questions about what that all means for their future. Hurricane Ian's just one example of storms that could potentially become more common. And while this one didn't have a big impact here on mid-Missouri, a Jefferson Middle School science teacher says it's important to address it with kids now.
They're going to be raising families that their kids are going to actually have to deal with the deserts and the floods and all that happening and the stronger storms. I think they care more.
The teacher added he had so many questions from students that he had to push part of the lesson to later today.
A bill to lower income taxes is on its way to Governor Parson to sign into law. Yesterday, the House approved the Senate's version of an individual income tax cut. This means a version of the bill going to Governor Parson's desk will not have corporate tax cuts on it. Parson issued a statement saying corporate tax cuts should be handled during a regular session in the spring. Lawmakers in support of the bill argue the tax cuts will reach working Missourians, but opponents say the tax cuts will only benefit those who are already wealthy.
This is a great bill that helps every single Missourian in my district and every district in the state in a time where we have record inflation and the economy is as it is. This is something that will do something to help.
Literally almost a third of Missourians don't make enough money to get a penny from this. And of those that do, the bottom 20%, they'll average about $10 each. $10.
The special session is scheduled to continue next week, and lawmakers will take up another bill for agricultural tax cuts. A group in Jefferson City, is trying to help the homeless. Jefferson City Project Homeless Connect is holding a day-long event to bring resources and services to those in need.
KOMU 8's Siobhan Harms is live in downtown Jefferson City with a breakdown on what they're offering. Hey Siobhan, good morning.
Good morning. People will gather at the First United Methodist Church behind me at 10 a.m. Then they'll connect with volunteers who will guide them through the event, connecting them with services that are relevant to them. Some of those services include basic medical screenings and haircuts. Volunteers will also give out backpacks filled with basic hygiene supplies. A co-chair for today's event says the event's structure will benefit those in need.
It's our 8th year to be hosting this event here in Jefferson City, and it's for those who are experiencing homelessness or housing vulnerable to connect with needed resources that they have all in a one-stop.
That event is going to wrap up around 2 p.m. today. And for a full itinerary of what's going to be going on, head to KOMU.com. Reporting live in Jefferson City, Siobhan Harms, KOMU 8 News.
Haven't talked about humidity in a while, and that's because we don't really have any humidity. There's actually 25 to 40% less water in the air right now. And I'll talk about why it's set up that way with our surface system coming up.
The student loan forgiveness plan has changed who will be eligible for it. Learn about the new guidelines after the break.
We're taking a live look over downtown Columbia right now at 6:09 on this Friday morning. Stick around. We'll be right back after this.